folks, welcome to Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Okay, folks, looks like we're live now. So welcome to Treasure Talk, and we're up there live now, aren't we, Jeff?
We are indeed.
Okay, folks, Phil Myers from Myers Metal Detectors, and today's show is going to be an exciting one because we've got the legendary Terry Shannon. But anyway, I guess I should go ahead and do the disclaimer, huh, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay. Well, first, today's show is brought to you by your friends at Myers Metal Detectors, where we not only sell fun, but we sell adventure. And the views and thoughts and opinions expressed by the Treasure Talk guests and members belong solely to the guest or member and not necessarily to Myers Metal Detectors, Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, or Jeff Monin. And away you go, Jeff.
All righty. Hey, everybody. We got the one, the only, the legend of Minnesota, the legend of the Treasure Coast, Terry Shannon. Now, you all have seen him before, but I'm going to tell you what, when people, when you call somebody a legend, it's because they deserve it. And he is a legend, and everybody's been waiting anxiously for this show. So Terry was kind enough to come back on and chat with us and tell us some stories and give us some tips. So without any further ado, we're going to bring in the legend, Terry Shannon, live from Melbourne, Florida, if I don't mess it up. So let's see if we can get Terry in here. There he is.
Hi, Jeff and Phil. How are you doing?
Hey, welcome.
We're doing good.
I'm just trying to set my phone up here. But anyway, welcome to the Treasure Talk show. And Jeff, you want to continue here for 1 second?
Sure. Now, you know, Terry, of course, now we're broadcasting live on YouTube at the same time as we are on Facebook. So hopefully you're going to get us some good subscribers. You know, so what many people may not know is you're from Minnesota, and you're pretty north up in Minnesota, and you spend the Florida summers and this course of summer in Minnesota, and then come fall, you come back down here where it's warm.
Yeah, it took me a while to kind of get smart, but yes, that's what we do. We're called snowbirds, and I am truly blessed. I mean, I've got the best of both worlds. I really do.
Well, your wife is a blessing, let me tell you.
She deserves a medal. 61 years her and I have been together, and when people call me the legend, and it's certainly not deserved. But if you ask her, she's going to tell you the truth.
Well,
she gets
all those rings.
Legend.
When I'm detecting, one of the questions I get asked the most is what do you found, or what's the best thing you found, and all that stuff. And I don't like to show anybody anything I found while I'm on the beach. It could cause problems. They say that they just lost it or something like that. But my comment is that if I don't find something pretty soon, my wife's going to wonder where I'm going. And it's a good outfit.
She probably wonders that anyway.
On a detective, she probably does better than I do. And she doesn't detect, but she gets first choice of everything I find. She's got quite a ring collection.
Yeah, mine does too, and they always fit, always. So.
That hasn't been my case. My wife was pretty little, but I had a good friend that was willing to resize a whole bunch of stuff, and he taught me how to do it. So it was kind of fun.
That's awesome. So Terry, why don't you tell us a little bit about how your winter season is going here in Florida?
I think I've had about the best season I've ever had this year. I come down here early, and it was really slow. Nothing going on, and all of a sudden the beaches opened up, and my gosh, I'm just having a fantastic year. It's slam shut now. The last week has been really poor, but I think I probably found about a dozen gold rings, and then I did get a ring this year that I took down to Steve Hodges at West Bay Trading Company, and I thought it was an old ring. I was pretty sure it was an old ring. And he has an expert. He wanted to keep it, have the expert look at it, and they've dated it prior to 1715. So that's kind of exciting, you know. And I did get one Spanish coin this year, a bunch of musket balls, and just having a fantastic year.
Yeah, I saw the picture of the coin. Was that a 2 real? You couldn't tell by the size of it.
It's a 1 real. It's a little bit bigger than a half, and it's got. I haven't cleaned it. In fact, I've got it right here. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, you can just barely catch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not real big. It's got really great detail in the front, and in the back, I haven't cleaned it, so I don't know what the back's going to look like. It's still pretty corroded. But we were down at Turtle Trail. It opened up, and we were getting these musket balls down there, and it was just unreal. And I think I was down there 3 or 4, I think about 4 different times. I ended up with 210 musket balls. I mean, that's a lot of musket balls, and most of them were quite small.
Did Gene have to rub your arm?
Pardon me?
Did Gene have to rub your arm after digging all those musket balls?
It's a wonderful thing. When I never get tired. I don't. At my age, 79 years, you think I'd get tired, but I don't. I go, I'm fine until I'm starting to stagger, then I'm exhausted. I go right from okay to exhausted. I'm so wrapped up in what I'm doing, I don't realize how tired I'm getting until all of a sudden it's almost too late.
Well, the beach is not the place where you want to fall out, let me tell you, especially if you surf.
Well, the beach is treated me pretty well. And the only thing is I do a lot of hunting between different beaches and that stuff. I like to walk. So a lot of times I find myself out there all by myself, but it's never been a problem.
Yeah, it's the adrenaline rush that you're getting when you're thinking you're digging a coin, and I'm sure the musket balls are cool. So were other people there when you found them?
Oh, I was just loaded with people. I mean, everybody was finding it. And there's a friend of mine, he was right beside me. And I mean, we're detecting probably 3-4 feet apart, and there's probably 10, 12 guys there, and everybody's just digging a lot. When you get a signal and you dig down, and then what I do after I recovered the musket ball, I take 2 or 3 more scoops, and I think on one hole I got 7 musket balls out of that one hole. I continue to dig, but he was right beside me, and he pulled out a half real Spanish coin. So that was exciting. And then there's another guy that was down a little farther, and he got the hand guard for a dagger, and that was really exciting also. I mean, that was kind of a neat recovery.
Well, that's awesome.
That would be cool. Cool.
So,
The fun part of this, or a big part of this hobby of ours, and it's so much fun, is the history. When I was in school, I think history was stupid. I mean, we got to worry about the future. Who cares what happened, 100 years ago? Now I'm into history like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I just enjoy it so much. And looking up and I've got a lot of people that will, help me on this stuff. They'll help me identify the finds or tell me the history on it. And it's just a fun time. I'm really blessed that way.
now, Terry, were you finding any other like non-metallic objects, fort objects, or was that just it?
Well, yeah, I was getting, a lot of coins and sinkers. When I get into those, these white pyramid sinkers, then I get pretty excited. And because they've been down there a long time. And I found one area, I went from 3 different hot areas, just bing, bing, bing. I found this open area, and I pulled a couple. I think I got 2 silver rings and a gold ring out of it. Went back the next day, got a couple of gold rings. I went back the next day, and I think I got some more gold stuff. And then it just slammed shut. So I went down, and I found another gold ring. It was just a honker. I mean, it had a diamond in it about the size of a dime, but it turned out it was one of these CZs. But it was enough to pucker you up and come out. And then I found an area that was just unreal. And I called my friend, and he came down, and he picked up three gold rings, a couple diamond rings. One was really a honker and a lot of diamonds in it, and that's where I got that ring from the 1500s. And I got several other rings there also. But I was right down on the coquina. It was that low that I was right out. It was kind of getting beat up by the waves, but it was right on the coquina. And when you bring your scoop up, you'd be scraping the top of the reef, and stuff comes up with it. It's just an exciting time.
Absolutely.
And now, with a couple of weeks or a month now, that'll all be covered with brand new sand.
Yeah. Tell everybody kind of what you look for when you read the beach, Terry.
Okay, what I do, and I did this today. I met a fellow down at Turtle Trail today, and I told him, I said, I'll be, leave early and I'll be a little late because I'm going to check every beach on the way down there. And I didn't check everyone, but I checked a lot of them. What I do is I drive down the beach or up the beach, either way, and I'll stop at these access, run out and look, and I'm looking for an area where what we call it as bowls. It's a low area. And by looking up the beach, if you can see, the beach is in a straight line, and you see one area where the water seems to be going up a lot farther, that's a washed out area, and that's where I head. And I found two of those today, but neither one of them, I found much in either one of them. But I did a couple of days ago, those same bowls. I pulled out a lot of stuff out. And so that's what you're looking for, is just being, the key to successful, treasure hunting is be able to read the beach. It just makes much more sense. Say if you only got 4 hours to hunt, why don't you take 2 of those hours and go up and down the beach, look for an area that's holding targets rather than to spend 4 hours where you're not finding much. And that's it. If I got any success at all, it's just because I can read the beach. But I've got an advantage over everybody else. I'm within walking distance of the beach, and I'm out there every day. So when I pull into a beach and look at it, I seen it the day before, so I know if there's any changes. So that's where I have the advantage.
All right, well, folks, I just wanted to let me butt in here for 1 second, Jeff. I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions for Terry, my wife Jocelyn's here, and she'll be glad to take them. So just write them down, and we'll ask the legend.
That legend thing is it does wonders for my egos, but it's not, it's just funny. But fella called me a legend. He was going to do a video, and it just stopped. And but I can't get my wife to do it. She doesn't call me the legend by any means.
Well, I have people call me the guru, so
we call him the gold guru.
Yeah.
I want to be the gold guru, but it's not happening a lot lately. So we're digging old coins anyway.
Well, old coins are good. It just and artifacts. It's just really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I was telling Jeff earlier, I went to the beach today because I have been hunting some old home sites in South Tampa, and been digging a lot of wheat pennies and silver dimes. So I said, well, I'm going to change things up and go to the beach this morning. And what do I dig on the beach? Wheat pennies and 1 silver dime, which for us over on our beach, it's just like unheard of to dig a silver dime. I mean, it's just a silver Roosevelt, but it's, our beaches are flat. There's not a lot of erosion, especially where I was at. So it's just very unusual. I say God just has a sense of humor.
Yeah, he does. But I'm surprised. We very seldom, we have to have a storm in that before we start getting silver coins over here. I found 1 Indian head penny, and I found, I think, 2 silver dollars now in my career over here on the beach.
Yeah. All right,
well, talk to us a little bit about the sand, Terry. What you look for in the sand, the different colors, and
yeah, I discovered it today. It was kind of interesting. They got that big hump. We've had this low waves, and it's just washing sand in every day, and it's just built up. There's actually like a mound of sand over, where the beach used to be now. And in fact, if you sit on shore and look out, you can't even see you can't see the water because of the height of the mound. But apparently the water went over that and started running along between the dunes and this big mound, and it washed it down. And all the old timers will tell you to look for this black sand, that's highly mineralized sand. I don't know what causes it, but when you get into the black sand, there's a good chance that you're going to get into into the treasure. And below this black sand, like today, I found areas that less than an inch, you go down and the sand comes out, it looks like it's almost orange. and that's the original beach sand. And when you see, that orange sand, stay right there. I mean, go back and forth, go north and south, go east and west, because that's where you're going to find the treasure. And I'd rather hunt all day long and find one, a Spanish coin or one, neat artifact than pull up a whole bunch of pennies and dimes and nickels, that sort of thing.
For sure.
Yeah, I did hit it big yesterday. I took my wife shopping, and I can't walk by the Coinstar machine without checking it. There's $2.50 in the Coinstar.
My goodness.
Well, I always check them because they kick out silver coins, and they won't accept the silver coins. Always look at them.
Yeah, I have friends who do that all the time. They're always showing me the coins they find on the coin stuff. That's amazing.
When I was a kid, they used to have the old payphones, and when you walk by, you'd take a couple steps out of your way to check the coin return to see if there was a quarter or a dime in there. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
So tonight's, but let me just jump in here for 1 second. Jeff, and you can tell the folks here, tonight we're doing drawings for some books. And just, you want to announce that, Jeff?
Yeah, we're going to draw. We've got 4 books, and we're going to have 4 winners. The books are by Terry, obviously. This was his first book. It was a bestseller, and it is Metal Detecting the Treasure Coast. And trust me, this is one that you want. Phil stocks them in the shop if you don't win.
You don't win, come
by the way, they are signed by the legend, Terry Shannon.
Yes, they are.
And his newest book, because a little bit later in the show, we'll get in more to hunting in Minnesota, but Metal Detecting the Otter Tail, the river where he grew up. And this is another killer book. It's going to be a bestseller. It also was signed by the legend Terry Shannon. So we'll be giving those 4 away. There'll be 4 winners. And when we do the drawing, you'll have 3 minutes to text either Phil or me and claim your prize. So Phil, you got some questions for Terry?
Got 2.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. Just give me 1 second here. But first, before we do the questions, Terry, why don't you tell us what detector you're using while you detect?
Okay, I just started in Minnesota using the XP Deus, and very excited and very happy with it. There's an old trading post there from the Red River ox carts, and I started detecting it. The farmer contacted me, I think in 2004 or 2002, and asked me to come out and detect out there. I spent a lot of time every year out there, and I pretty well, I found some tremendous artifacts and pretty well cleaned it out. And I went out with that Deus, and it just opened it up. It was a brand new deal again. I was digging all kinds of coins and artifacts and that stuff. And on the beach, I've been using the Equinox, with the stock coil. I don't like that great big 15-inch coil. I've got a theory on it. It probably doesn't make sense, but I like to get, when I'm looking for that black sand, when you get into that highly mineralized black sand, and I think that big coil, I think that mineralization kind of overwhelms that coil, and I've actually done better with the stock coil than I have with that big coil. And it's just kind of unhandy for me. I just like the stock coil. Last year, we got into an area where there was a bunch of these bronze ship nails, where they put that seating on. And I was with a guy that had the Mine Lab 3030 and the 15-inch coil. And I got, with my Equinox and the smaller coil, I got 41 coins or nails out of there, and he didn't get any. And he's a good detector, so it wasn't his fault. It was just, the machine wasn't acting right.
Yeah,
So,
I think. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wondered which coil you're using on the Deus.
I can't tell you. It's a black one.
The X35 9-inch coil, or using the 11?
No, I'm using the 9, I think. The 9-inch.
Yeah, I've got that one, the 9-inch X35. It's killer. And I've got the 2 high-frequency coils as well. So
yeah, I've got to get more coils, and I just have to play around with them. Where I was so happy with it in that at the trading post and these other places that I was detecting, I was finding so much, I just didn't want to mess with it. I'm old school. If it isn't broke, don't fix it, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's I kind of screwed myself up, and I want to get it out on the beach because that thing you can go all day long, and you're not going to get tired.
Yep, that's for sure. Phil?
Yeah, I had to jump in here for 1 second. Some people are asking how to sign up for the contest. Now that contest is already closed. Is that correct?
Yep,
Jeff?
close at 6:30.
Yeah, it's in our rules that we close it at 6:30 because Jeff has to have a way to do the drawings uh, every week. So we close it at 6:30. That way we can do I guess you use a random name drawer, right?
Yep,
Right.
that's what I do. Just to kind of give them, because we got a lot of people now that watch on YouTube. What you need to do, and sooner or later, I'm going to figure out a way to let YouTube winners get in on it. But right now, we need you to go to the Facebook page and join Treasure Talk, because you have to be a member to win, and you have to be tuned in to win. So you can still watch on YouTube. We don't care where you watch from as long as you watch. But right now, and I'm working on another deal, but right now you got to enter through Facebook. So we're working on it though.
Okay, let me get started with the questions because they're starting to come in now. Um, Terry, Randy Goodnow wants to know when and why did you get into metal detecting?
I got into metal detecting after I retired and when I came down to Florida here. And so I've only been doing it about 15 years, on a scale that I'm doing it now. So I'm not an old pro by any means.
Yeah, but you get out there just about every day, especially when you're down here, right?
My wife tells everybody that a couple of years ago I missed one day and being on the beach, and I tell everybody that on Christmas my wife can be a real butt at times, So I'm out there virtually every day, and so that's why I've got a huge advantage over everybody else. I really do.
Right, because you're right there on the beach, and you can check the beaches in your area and further south, and find this stuff. Hey, we've got another question here. I don't know if you have the answer for this one, but Kimberly Creamer is asking, is it legal to hunt in city parks in Sebastian? Would you know that answer to that?
I don't know. I would think that it would be. I know that you can detect on the beach there in Sebastian, and you go into the park and you walk right through there. So I think that you can do that, but just talk to the ranger. Most of them are pretty reasonable, and so I really can't answer that. I'm sorry. I know I've detected the beach there many, many times.
Yeah, for me, if I was wanting to know that, I would ask the ranger in the park, and often it's okay, and they have different parks have different rules, so it's always best to ask. Hey, you don't want to get yelled at, so always ask. And then someone is asking about signing up for the contest. Yes, every week you have to sign up because we have different contests and different things that are given away. So yes, it's a new contest every week. So be sure to enter, and you'll see on the next week's contest. I think you have that page already up, don't you, Jeff?
Yep.
Yeah. So make sure you enter for next week's.
You got to follow the rules too.
Absolutely, follow the rules.
And please don't use the post for the contest as a chat forum.
Yeah. And back to Kimberly on the parks in Sebastian, it's a city park. I would just ask the ranger in the park you're at, or call the city parks and recs department. That way you know for sure, because it's always better to get permission. That way you're not looking over your shoulder for the park ranger. Let's see here. Okay, Peter Ferenzi is asking, what mode and settings are you using on your Equinox?
Okay, I use Beach 2 and about 20 on the sensitivity and 4 on the recovery speed. And of course, I turn the volume way up, and I also I will turn it on full metal, not the pinpoint mode, but I'll click the horseshoe. And like when I was getting the musket balls, I was never hardly ever getting a clear signal. What I was doing is you go along and you get a little hiccup and you dig it. And when you're in a target rich area like that, that's what you have to do. And I have the threshold up so I can just barely hear it. People will ask me, why don't you use Beach 1? Because it goes deeper, and it does. But it doesn't, it gets much more interference in the salt water. I'm always right at the edge of the water or fighting the waves, and Beach 2 can handle where Beach 1 won't. If I go up in the dry sand, for example, and I did that the other day and actually found the ring, then I was on Beach 1.
So Beach 1 when you're in the up in the dry sand, Beach 2 when you're down in the wet sand or shallow water.
That's correct, yeah.
And sensitivity of 20 and a recovery speed of 4?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
So
Yeah, if I turn the sensitivity now, a year ago, when I was getting it into those ship nails, these bronze ship nails, I had the sensitivity up at 20 and I was doing really well. And then the next day I went south. I could see this area and it used to be an old swimming pool there. And it had collapsed and the area was just plumb full of garbage and a lot of this black sand. And I turned the sensitivity down to about 15 and I picked up a gold ring and a whole bunch of coins. Where if I had the sensitivity up in that black sand and that stuff, it just doesn't do as well. It's amazing.
okay, and the next question I have for you, Terry, are most of your finds coming from the wet sand, the shallow water, or the dry sand?
Very few come from the dry sand. When I started down here, I hunted in the dry. My theory is that for every gold ring that is lost, in the dry sand on the towel line marks, 8 or 9 are lost out in the water. Now on the Spanish stuff, I think I've only found 1 or 2 reals in the real wet water. I found a half, maybe a few more than that, but most of my real good finds have actually been up on the dry or up high on the reals. And I think it was not last year, year before. I have a friend Jerry that we detect together, and we found 5 8 reals laying right on top of the sand, above the high tide line. And what it is as you're out there, you hear the waves coming in, and they come in and they back out. But about every 10th or 20th wave, you get that great big one. It just comes way in, and I call that a surge. And I think what was happening there is that the surge was actually washing his coins in. 4 of the coins were kind of in tough shape. I think they were washed out of the water. And the one I got, I brought it out here to show you. It's a grade 1. Steve Hodges graded it, but it's just a phenomenal coin.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. That's an 8 real, and the backside it's. I had a dated. There's kind of a date on it, but you can tell by the shield it's 1711. And this coin, and I believe that one got washed out of the, of the sand up there, out of the dunes. But what happens when you get a full moon? When you get the full moon, you get the plus and minus tides. And the tides come in. Well, you got about 3 days where that tide is on the full moon is hitting way back up as far as the dunes. See, and then every day it starts to back off a little bit. And when we found those 8 reals, I realized what had happened. I mean, it took me 10 years to figure this out, for God's sake, or even a little longer than that. And so what I did is it's going to be another 2 weeks before we have a new moon or another full moon where we get those big tides again. So you got a 2-week window to hunt up high. That things may have been washed up during that bad weather, and it won't be touched again until they get the high tides, so the new moon or the full moon again to wash the waves up that high. And I did really well. I mean, I went every day I took another stretch of beach and I found all kinds of stuff. I didn't find any more coins, Spanish coins, but I found a lot of good stuff.
So
does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You use the tides for when you're looking for the changes, the real high tide, or what website do you use? Use saltwatertides.com, or what do you use?
I think it's saltwater. I'd have to look at my phone. I left that in the house. I'm out in our Florida room because I didn't want it ringing during the show here. But I do follow the tides every day, and I try to get out there. And what I will do, if as you go out on the beach and you look at it, and you say you get out there 3 hours before the high tide, and or for the low tide, and you walk along the beach and you get kind of a steep angle going down to the water. And as the tide goes out, it's dropping sand, and as when we get the low tide, that angle isn't there anymore. It's been enough sand has been dropped that it's really flattened out. So what I do normally is I'll follow the waves out. So I start high, follow the wave out, and come back. And by doing that, when I get down, but you get beat up. The waves come up and they hit you, and you have trouble on your recoveries. And I had a funny thing happen to me one time. I was going out there, and I looked up, and here's this great big gigantic wave, and it just whacked me, and I rolled over backwards. And this fellow, he was up in the bank. He come running down, and he asked me if I was okay, and I, spitting water out and getting ready to go back out for another try. He said, "Boy, you are very determined." And he got right in my face and asked me if I had found the Lord.
Well, folks, I didn't not to cut you off, Terry, but let me just remind the folks. I've had people ask them where can we rewatch the show. You can watch it on Facebook or on YouTube, both of them. And also that website, I went kind of quick. I talked a little fast that I use, and I'm sure Terry uses one similar. I use saltwatertides.com, and you can look up your beaches that you're wanting to know the low or the high tides on that. And for us here on the West Coast who water hunt a lot, it's real nice when you get the negative tide like today. It was a negative 1.3, I believe. So the water went way out. I'm hunting a bay beach, Terry. So there was no water in the swim area. It was all wet sand. So that makes it easy to grid off an area when there's no water there. But anyway, back to you, Jeff.
So Terry, you look for different spots on the beach, obviously with the moon phases and the tides. Now, a lot of people don't know you can hunt a little bit in the water up there where you are in Melbourne, right? But you can't really go out very far. They're not going to give you any grief if you go out about knee deep, right?
It's no, not. I believe that these admiralty rights or the people that have the salvage permits and that stuff. I think it only goes up about 5 miles north of the inlet. So up where we are, nobody seems to mind. The only problem is that on the East Coast here, the waves are almost always so hard. It's really hard to. I've got scars in both my shins from my scoop. When you get a target and that stuff. So I don't, it's got to be pretty calm before I actually get in the water. But what happens a lot of times is like now, it's building up that big mound of sand. And then all of a sudden, we get that full moon again or the new moon and we get into plus tides and the water will go over the top of that mound and form like a little river. I call those troughs. And those I jump in all the time. And those are really good. I mean, you can really do well in those troughs.
Yeah. Never turn your back.
No. It. I've been laid out a couple times. I roll. I am heavy enough that I roll well.
Well, I bounce. I'm so full of it. I tend to float. But a couple of months ago we were at Daytona, and it was one of the only times I've ever been there where it was calm enough where we could get out. We were out neck deep, but it was so sanded in we couldn't hardly find anything. And then, the last time we were there, it was so rough that you had trouble holding on to your scoop. So, you take what you get.
Yeah, and the window of opportunity is pretty narrow. When you see it, you better jump on it. We had a night last year that it was just phenomenal. We got into the coins and we're digging. I got some really neat artifacts, but I called my wife up and said, I'm going to be late. It was dark, but I'm already real late. And I said, we're really into the stuff and I'm finding, and she said, well, what are you finding? I told her, I have no idea. I can't see it. We didn't have a light along there. But I'm not about to leave, And so... But a friend of mine really got into some really good coins, and the tide was coming in. And every time he made a good find, I was back in Minnesota, he called me. And, he just did really well. And he called a friend of his to come over here, and they had a quick sandwich at high tide and then started hunting that same area right there at that one area and never found a thing. And the tide goes out. It closed up in one tide. The beach actually changes twice a day. You know, it really does. And that's like I said, I have my advantage because I'm so familiar with it. And I do also believe that stuff washes, excuse me, washes up and down the beach. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Terry, we've had a question here. I know you found a lot of silver coins. Have you found a gold coin yet?
I found one gold coin, but not on a escudo. I found a Spanish gold coin, and it was in a bezel. But no, I have yet to get that escudo. And when I find one, you'll know it. You'll hear me holler way over there on the east.
We'll hear you across the state. Well, you would probably hear me too, because I've been doing this a long time, and I haven't found the gold coin yet. But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
I got a buddy that's got some, and I got several friends that have found them, but I have just not been in the right place at the right time.
That's all it takes. You got to be there, and you got to be detecting to find it.
Yeah, and if you have to choose between luck and skill, take the luck.
Ain't that the truth?
Absolutely. So, Jeff, do you want to draw a name for a book, or you want to do that at the end, or what are we doing?
We'll do it in about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
I've got the names drawn, and I'll announce them, and then they'll just have to, get back to us. Let's talk a little bit about the Otter Tale.
Yes.
Terry, tell us kind of what about the new book and detecting the Otter Tale and what you kind of do in the summertime up in Minnesota.
Okay, the Otter Tail is a tubing river. It's a small river. It's not very wide, but it's very fast. And when I was a youngster, I grew up on a farm out in on the lake, Highland Lake, and that is actually the beginning of the Otter Tail. And in the old days, they used to log, and they had these great big white pines. They all logged them all off, but they would float them down the Otter Tail to the Frazee where I live. And the Otter Tail was small enough and shallow enough they couldn't float the logs. So what they do is they'd build a dam about every mile and raise the water up, and then they'd float the logs down to that dam, and then and this is in the spring of the year when the ice went off, and then they'd blow up the dam and it'd float down to the next one. So in this river, they had been tubing in it for about 25 years prior to me starting to hunt that, and so you got everything. You've got the Indian artifacts because they, travel along the river like that. You've got the old logging days like that, and then you got the tubers. And when I first started, I was averaging 80 to 100 rings a year out of that Otter Tail River, and some really nice rings. And it's amazing. They had a little dam, and it was only like I'd say a 2-foot drop. But when everybody went over that dam, with their tubes and that stuff, a lot of them fell and they lost stuff. And I went in there at that time I had a Excalibur with the 10-inch coil. I think is it a 10 or 11-inch coil? Stock coil. And I went in there and I worked right below the dam for about 4 hours. I found a ring. I don't remember if it was gold or silver, and a bunch of coins. And then I had a Mine Lab Sovereign with that small coil. And what I did is I kind of jury rigged it up where I put the Sovereign box in a plastic container so it was waterproof, and went in there with that small coil. 2 days after I was in there with the Excalibur, and I found 11 rings, 5 of them gold. And one of them my wife wears to this day. It was just a heck of a ring. And what it was, and the rivers there's a lot of rocks and that stuff in the river. The bottoms are not sandy in a lot of places, and that small coil you can get down in the rocks and stuff like that. But it's just a wonderful place. I played in that river when I was a kid. Here I am, 79 years old, still playing in it, and just love that place. And then I've got another place up there where the farmer called me up and invited me out. And in the old days, we had the Red River ox carts. And these ox carts were made, entirely, there was no metal in the ox cart whatsoever. And they wouldn't even grease the wheels because the grease would pick up sand and act like sandpaper. They're very noisy in that. And these people they call them Métis. They're Frenchmen that married, native Indian brides and that stuff. And they were taking buffalo down to, they go from Winnipeg down to Pembina, and then from Pembina to Fargo, North Dakota, and from Fargo on down to St. Paul, which was called Pig's Eye back then. And I think it was in 1844 or right in that time period, the Indians got mad at all the buffalo being killed and went on the warpath. And there was a big wagon train of those guys down in Pig's Eye at the time, and they had to find another route coming home. And they came through our town, and they built this trading post. And the local TV has done 3 different TV specials about me out there, and some of the stuff I've even found pinfire, a lot of artifacts. It's amazing. It's such a neat thing. I'm in no pressure to get it cleaned out because the farmer owns the land, and I'm the only one that he lets on there. So, but he just passed away a couple of years ago. He was a good friend. But his kids, they treat me like a king, and I'm out there again this year with the Deos, and just did wonderful.
Yeah,
So what is the oldest coin you found there?
At the trading post, the oldest one was an 1864 2-cent piece. Our area up there, I live in Frazee. I was a county sheriff up there. The county seat was in Detroit Lakes. So we're 50 miles straight east of Fargo, North Dakota. And during the Louisiana purchase, they purchased everything west of the Mississippi, including all the way up to in Minnesota there. And what happened is that we have the Red River of the North that flows north up into Winnipeg, and they mistook the Red River for the Mississippi River. And so we were one of the last areas to get settled. There was a real dispute. We claimed the land, the French claimed the land, and the British claimed the land. So we don't get the large cents very, and that kind of stuff. I found a couple 3-cent pieces and, a lot of 2-cent pieces, not a lot, but, several. And I'm really fortunate because I was the county sheriff. It's an elected position, so everybody knew me. So for me to get access is just absolutely no problem at all. And in fact, on the river, one of the tubing places said I should talk to this guy by the name of Rick. There was a party place on the river where the kids would stop. There was a great big sandbar there and party. And of course, they're going to lose all kinds of stuff there. And I would go to it, but it was about a 2-mile walk up there, a good mile walk upstream to get to that party place. And they said, talk to Rick. He owns the land right by the party place. He might let you drive through his land. So he owned a restaurant, out there on the highway. So I stopped it there and I walked in. I said, Rick, I'm Terry Shannon. He said, yeah, I know who you are. He said, I've been going to tell you. And I said, you were? I said, what do you want? And he said, well, I own the land up by the party place there. Why don't you come up and detect there? You can drive through my property. I didn't even get to ask him. And he took his tractor with a brush hog and made a road for me to go right up to the river. So, the people have treated me well. And the stuff I've taken out of there, just, it's remarkable stuff I found.
Well,
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah,
Let's do some drawing here.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that, Jeff?
Okay, so the 4 winners. Now, if somebody doesn't get back to us within 3 minutes, I just put my number up. Phil, what's the number to text?
They can text me at 813-732-7433. Please don't call me, though. Just text me, or if you're on here on Facebook, just message us on Facebook. That's probably faster.
Right. And my number is 850-545-1651. No phone calls. Phone calls disqualify you. So here are the 4 winners, and let's hope everybody's here. And remember, you got to be tuned in to win. Mary Ellen Brady, Bob Bolton, Digger Gary Toledo, and Michael Wolf. So y'all got 3 minutes. Let's get after it because I've got more names drawn.
I know Mary Ellen Brady. She belongs to our club here.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. Real fine lady.
Well,
Is your club meeting down there?
We had one meeting and they did a phenomenal job as far as the social distancing and the care that they took. And since then we're just meeting on Zoom. We just had the one, and then things started to spike again, and so we don't have the physical meetings.
Yeah.
Are you guys having any meetings?
We've had one at it was this past month at the Seminole Heights. What was the meeting there? Oh, the American Legion Hall. We had one. They allowed us to meet there. Yes. And of course, doing the social distance things and wearing a mask. And then that's at the Tampa, the West State Archaeological Society. And then the St. Pete Club which is Suncoast Research and Recovery Club. They meet on a Saturday morning in a park underneath a shelter, but it's the same thing. That's outside and at Freedom Lake Park, and that seems to work okay. And so far, nobody's gotten sick that I know of, and hopefully, we're not spreading the virus. So,
I miss the club meetings. I mean, they're an important part, you know, there's no downside whatsoever to belonging to a club.
no, I think it's exciting. You learn a lot, especially to people new to the hobby. You can learn a lot at a club, get up to speed faster, and you see what people find. That's kind of the exciting part. So I like that. Have we gotten any winners yet?
I seen two of them come across. They said they texted. I hadn't gotten any text yet, but I know Toledo and Michael Wolf are here.
Okay, let me see if I. No, it doesn't look like I got any, unless they did it here on Facebook, which I have been known to miss things. Not yet, but how much more time do they have left, Jeff?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Better get with it, guys.
Well, Toledo's here, right?
Did he say?
He's been on the
Yeah,
page.
yeah, but I didn't get a message from him.
Toledo is in the house.
Yes, Gary's here. So Gary's got his.
Gary is here.
Yep. And Michael Wolf, I saw him.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael Wolf.
Okay. So then we're just looking for Mary Ellen Brady and Bob Bolton.
Yep. And I ain't seen either one of them. So they got 20 seconds left. And then we'll go on to a couple more names.
Somebody says here, Joe Veazey
Busy.
said Gary and Michael both sent in. I don't see that. I only see Gary.
Well, I didn't get notified either, but I saw them on the chat. Who knows? You know.
Kimberly Creamer said she saw him.
Yes.
Oh, Michael says I'm here.
Oh, Michael said he's
I'm
here.
Michael.
Yeah,
Wolf.
Michael
Okay, so,
Wolf.
so the only one we're looking for is Mary Ellen Brady.
Bob Bolton. I haven't seen him. Saw Toledo and Wolf.
Yeah, Toledo and Wolf. That's it.
So I'm going to go with two more names, Phil.
Okay, go ahead and pull them away. And folks, just to remind you, if you don't win tonight, you can always stop in the shop. I've got both of Terry's books.
Oh, Gary just texted you.
Gary's already, we already
Okay,
gave him the
all right.
okay.
Allison says draw again.
So we've got them in the shop. Hey, and if you buy them from me, we're also going to make you take one of our 2021 calendars.
And the books I've got, you're getting a bunch of stickers too.
Yes, you're going to get some stickers too. Absolutely.
Whether you want them or not.
Yes, we make you take them.
Natives are getting rid of
Okay, two more names.
Come on.
Come on, let's pull a name.
Okay, Jason Alexander and Howard Metz.
Jason
I
Alexander
haven't seen
and
Howard.
Howard. And I haven't seen Howard on here tonight. So you guys, if you would like to win, make sure you text us over real quick.
I tell you what, I don't know what's up with these people, Terry. They must be eating sandwiches or something.
Must be doing something.
Eating turkey.
So Terry, you're using the XP Deus for your land hunting, and then you're using the Equinox for your beach hunting.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm doing that right now. I'm going to be using the Deos on the beach. You know, I like that machine. I just have not had the time to play with it. You know, you think for an old retired guy, I'd have nothing but time, but I'm so busy on the beach that I just never get anything done.
Well, I always find if you know one detector for a specific area, it's kind of hard to switch up. Especially, I would be hesitant to do that. I mean, maybe on a day that you're not going to find much, to try it out then. But if you're looking in an area that you already know your detector, it's kind of hard to switch up like that.
I agree. Last year, I found a Spanish coin from the 1500s that Carlos and Luana coin, and it's dated. We were able to date it with the by the assayer. He only worked from 1544 to 1548. And I found that in a small area, and I worked that area for 3 days. And I found the coin. In fact, I found two of them. I found another one that Steve Hodges has that he's trying to bring up the detail on it. But I worked it for 3 days, and I found the coins on the second day. It was just a real hot, small area. The third day I went through there. What I would have liked to had is a pulse machine to go back on that fourth day after I cleaned it out to see if I could get, because I'm up high. I'm not, the water wasn't affected. It was after the high tide and backed down a bit. And so I bought a Garrett Sea Hunter, and I tried it once and wasn't impressed at all. And I'm sure everybody I talk to, they say it's a wonderful machine, but I'm just not used to it yet. I've got to learn to run it. I just haven't taken the time to do it. But I just wanted, after I clean an area out, to go in and just triple check it.
Mhm.
Yeah, with the PI, yeah, that'd be the Sea Hunter Mark II is a good detector, but yeah, you're gonna dig every piece of iron though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, if but on a situation like that, I've been there in that particular situation. I was there for 3 days, and we're talking an area maybe 50 to 60 feet long, and the same thing on the width. It's just a small area, and I had it pretty well cleaned out. There just wasn't a hum there, but it also might have been able to pick up that one more coin.
Absolutely.
So you
So
get
how
any text or anything, Phil?
No, I haven't got anything yet.
We have
Okay, we got two more names.
Two more names coming out.
Yep, Mark Thomas and Mark Fiorella.
Mark Thomas and Mark Fiorella.
I haven't seen them either.
So let's see if they're on there. You just got to Facebook message us or text me 813-732-7433.
Kimberly Kramer said Jason is here. Who is it? Jason who?
Well, read those names again, Jeff.
I didn't draw any Jason.
No, Jason.
She must be talking to one of the people.
Jason Alexander.
Yeah, but he just messaged Jeff.
Well.
And
Yeah, Jason Alexander, but he was what?
so are you Terry? Are you in a club up north, or are you just down
Yes,
here?
I am. I belong to a club up there, and I mentioned earlier on these clubs, there's just no downside. When I bought my first detector, I detected for about a year, and then I joined that club, went out there, and I learned more in that one first night than I did the whole year messing around on my own. I'm really high in the clubs.
He's right there on my list.
So,
He texted
and somebody said we need to check our phones. Well, I got my phone right here, and I've got no messages or no texts.
Alexander.
So Jason, did you call Jason Alexander?
Yeah, I wrote his
Yeah.
name.
Okay. Well, is he the one who said we didn't check our phone?
Yeah.
No, that could be me. He could have sent it to me. Is he on there right now?
He is on there now.
Okay, Jason, you're a winner.
Jason's a winner.
And we're looking for one more. And I have either Mark Thomas or Mark Fiorella. If y'all want it, you better say something so we can see it.
That way we can move on with it.
Yep. We're running out of time.
Okay, Phil, that club I belong to is a Tri-State Metal Detecting Club, Tri-State Metal Hunters
Okay.
Detecting.
And what city is that out of?
Actually, it's Chaffee, North Dakota. It's a real small town, and there's a guy by the name of Rick Schroeder that allows us. He's got a bar and a cafe there, and he allows us in the back room, and it's a wonderful club. I mean, just great guys. Both clubs that I belong to are that way. And you guys got to. I've been privileged to speak at your club a couple times.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have
And
you
they're-
back again soon. But
Yeah, they're great guys. They're just really super guys and gals, I should say.
Thank you.
yeah. But with this COVID thing, it's
What club
who
does
knows?
Terry belong to?
Oh, they keep asking what club you belong to, and we've been talking about it. Go ahead and give us both names of the clubs that you
You
belong.
talking to me now?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, down here it's the Treasure Coast Archaeological Society, and up there it's a tri-state, middle. I have trouble. They just changed the name.
Yeah, yours down here is TCAS, right?
Yes.
You got the
Yeah.
other name?
Well, we got all four now.
We got all four.
All right.
Yep. So
Sweet.
what they need to do, what they all need to do, because I have the books right here with your stickers. So you need to email me all your info so I can send you the books. And just email it to treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. And we'll
Awesome.
get the books mailed to you.
And just to piggyback on what Terry was saying about the clubs, if you're in my area, there's 2 clubs, but there's several over there on the East Coast. There's Central Florida. There's TCAS. There's one up in Daytona. What other clubs over by you, Terry? Isn't there like 4 of them?
I've hunted with some guys from your club and a Central Florida metal detecting club, and then the Treasure Coast, and that's the only ones that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The club in up in North Dakota is the Tri-State Treasure Hunters.
Tri-State Treasure Hunters.
Yeah, they just changed the name. That's why I was confused. I've owned it for a long time.
Yeah. So, and I would recommend clubs to anybody, especially someone new to the hobby. And as soon as this COVID thing starts to go away, everybody gets their shots. The clubs will probably be a whole lot more active than they are today. Because I do miss the clubs. I'll say that. So,
When I came down here, my goal was to find a Spanish coin. And I mean, that goal turned into obsession, and I was on the beach and people found them, but I never found one. And so that first year I went to the Treasure Coast, having a big hunt, and they gave away a Spanish coin, and I won one. When I when I got that token, it says one, an 8 real, I just stopped hunting. I was satisfied. I got everything I wanted right there. That was my first coin from the club.
yeah. But then you
And
go every day looking.
Yeah, and then the second coin, the first wild coin, you might say, I found right out in front of here at Melbourne, and it's a little 2 real. It's got a date on it, 701. It and I had to put in this bezel, but it's 1701 Spanish 2 real from the Pot de Cement. And talk about a thrill there. I found this coin. I found 5 gold rings, and I had a 5-gallon pail out there. Had it about half filled with sinkers. It was a 3-day storm, and it was just unreal. And I think I got like 120 silver coins or something in that period.
And what year was that?
That was probably back in I think 2005 when I got that first
2005.
coin. And I've managed to pull 1 or 2 every year since then. I've been really lucky.
Well, I don't know if it's all luck. I think it's a lot of skill and knowing what to look for and where to look for it. So I don't think it's luck.
Well, we had somebody come through and say on the show tonight that the real treasures are in the friendships. And I have to say, Terry, our real treasure is you, having you on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's an honor to be asked to be on here. It really is. I mean, it's just a thrill to be able to come on and visit with you. And it's a treasure out there that we find. We find the coins, we find the rings and all that stuff, but it's the friends that you make. And the people I've met, it's been unreal. And the health benefits. I mean, that's a biggie. When I was a county sheriff, we'd, have a guy retire, or when I was, after I retired, I went back as a police chief for a while. The guy retired, we have a big party for him, we have a roast, give him a jacket, and 3 years later or 4 years later, I'm a pallbearer. I'm 79 years old. I can keep up with all these youngsters, and it's because of the beach. I'm walking out there every day, and that's the treasure. It's the health aspect.
Yeah, boy, ain't that the truth. Well, we got about 35, 40 seconds left, I believe. And Terry,
No, I got 2 minutes left, Jeff.
What, babe? What?
I've got 2 minutes or 1 minute left.
I see.
Well, can I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and God bless you all. I mean, I'm so honored to have you as friends and partners in this wonderful hobby. And just thank you for being my friend and Merry Christmas. Stay healthy and stay safe.
We'll
Yes,
certainly do it.
absolutely. Let me jump in here first, Jeff, and then I'll let you end it up. I wanted to first say thank you to Terry, and I consider you a friend. And it is the friendships that we have a lot of times is more important than the treasure we find. Also, real quick, like Crystal Genser said, I told Santa I wanted all the books that Phil Myers posted the other day. So 2 of those are Terry's. So she's going to be happy because Santa will be glad to send it. That's why I got my Santa hat on. Anyway, I wanted to thank you, Terry, and thank you, Jocelyn, and thank my good friend over here with the hat on with all the lights. Jeff, the Silver
Sparkly,
Surfer Mona.
sparkling at Kmart, yeah. Sparkles at Kmart.
I want to thank you all and Merry Christmas to everybody. If you have any questions, just give me a call at the shop anytime. Thank you, guys. And I'll let you
Okay,
end it.
guys. So next week is the Christmas show. KG and the Ringmaster will be here. Who knows what's gonna? We're just gonna let the Badger loose. So who knows what's gonna happen? Terry, we love you. Thanks again. Give Jean a hug for us and tell her thank you for putting up with you all these years. Phil, Joss, love you. And
Love you too.
all our viewers and members, we love you too. So we will see you next week.
Alrighty, guys.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.